Congratulations, Katharina. What an amazing film. What an amazing film. And what a great follow-up to have you here. And I'm really sorry that Akshay couldn't be here. And we have to acknowledge the pandemic that we live in right now, right? So that's it. He is caught in a COVID situation. Mm-hmm.
We are very sorry too. It's a great pleasure for me to be part of the conversation. Yeah. But the situation in Mumbai in the moment, and Maharashtra in particularly, is not too good.
Yeah. Okay.
So I hope that all is going well with Akshay and our team. And
I know I send him, and Indie sends him best wishes, and to his entire extended family, both on sets and films, and the sort of the filial family as well. Yeah. Wow. It's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? Yeah. So you have the COVID situation, and I have this amazing film that came out, I think, just before.
That came out last year.
Yeah.
The year before, and we started actually in Shanghai,
right.
Which was super surprising at a time when Akshay, Teja, Shri, and we could all go. And what all of us really fascinated is the enthusiasm of the spectators for the film. I mean, they were sticking to Akshay and Teja, the wife and producer, at them really asking questions, because they really felt that the film expresses something they would love to say, and they know it from their own lives. And this was Shanghai.
Absolutely. This is amazing, because I was thinking it's such a, I'm reminded of so many other films from India recently that speak to this sort of space, as it were, but this seems very distinctive. And it really does have a space within an Asian cinema, especially films that are coming out of China right now. It feels like one of those, what I would call the slow durational works that are there, right? That you have to actually mind, especially the long second half of the film, if there is such a thing, right? Where the walkabout starts, right? Then traveling without a ticket on a train, and then just being passing that off by parlaying that for a poem, and then this long walkabout that begins. It's just kind of and then when you see the film, you see it again in reverse. If you consider the first half, which is all set in Pune, and in that very small kind of beamed house, it's just so stunning for its mise en scène. What I want to ask you as a producer, take us through this. How did you meet him? How did this relationship in a producer who lives in Germany and in India develop? And this is his debut film. Of course, he's made he's made a documentary. So how did you chance upon him, and what's the process? Because this is kind of exciting. You're in an age of...
To explain, our company is a German-Indian company based in Mumbai and based in Berlin. So my business partner, Arfi, he's coming often to Berlin, like I'm most of the time in India, actually.
Got it.
And my business partner, who's also down with COVID, is an actor. So Akshay asked him to come to Pune because he wanted to get to know him as an actor. And then they started talking about the film, and we saw the rough edit, and I was blown away, because coming from this Eastern European tradition, based in Berlin, grown up in Berlin, he was for me the Tarkovsky from India.
Of course.
So it was for me immediately, I've never seen a Tarkovsky from India in this visuals, in this sound, with this acting, with this kind of character. And the story was for me very, very today, because I find an issue is really in this kind of age of 20 to 25, 26, that you had a certain education, you did your craftsmanship, and then you come into reality.
Yes.
And reality is not what it is, how you dream it, and how this character gets confused. And we spoke to so many people in Tallinn, in New Zealand, so many people we met. They said, it was like with me.
Of course.
And this was that Afi and me got very much interested in coming on board for the film. And that's how it started.
So the film was already halfway done by the time you came in, right? So did you do the post with him, or what?
We did the post. We re-edited the film. There was a different editing version before. So we kind of did the editing totally new.
Okay.
Certain sounds, music, all the design of the film and how you tell the story in these chapters came up later.
Oh, I see. That's what I was going to ask him, because I was very curious about the chapters, the notion of chapters, and they're of uneven length. And I was curious how that was set up. So this is that. And then, of course, the music also, because there is a sound design, but there is music. I mean, and the music seems to be, and then of course there's this wonderful sort of poetry, and I wonder whose poems, I'm curious, but the music, I was curious, the levels of like classical Hindustani that was being used on the music track. I was curious about that. And tell us a little bit about the chapters, because clearly that seems to be like something that the book, and I loved its uneven length, like, Deep Roots is longer, but Revolution is shorter. It's like, oh, really? Revolutions are short, I guess. I was thinking. So, yeah.
Now, the original version was very much like a monologue of one person getting confused in the landscape.
Okay.
And we didn't get what you want to say. And it's very difficult to find out for someone who's so confused. And at that age, you are so confused. And you don't understand what's going on. So it was for Akshay trying to understand, okay, where are my roots? And to go into different chapters to try to explain the character and the life of this person. It was very much disputed because partly people don't understand the chapters, to be honest.
Okay.
It looks nice.
Okay. Yeah.
And the issue is people don't understand it. I kind of liked it because it tried to get the character and what are his issues. Okay. And it's a lot about your roots, because Akshay's subject is, and also I think in the film afterwards, is this: he comes from the countryside, you go to the city, you are in both worlds, not happy. Him coming from a folk musician family, anyhow walking around and traveling around. So your home can be anywhere and you have no home.
Yes.
And Akshay's topics turn a lot about this, traveling, being confused. Where are my roots? And
give us a little sense of where Akshay was trained. I mean, where did he go to film school? Did he learn to shoot on his own? So what's that story over here?
Now, Akshay actually, as I said, comes from this folk musician background. It is the first in the family where they said, you are going to settle. You go to Pune. So he entered FTI, the Pune Film Institute, film school, but he was not very happy about what they actually did there. So he left the film school. So he kind of trained himself in doing the documentary, in doing here and there works. And that's how I think also this kind of discovery and experimental style started off. And because he's trained from a musician family, so everything is about music and sounds. And he always said it's a kind of meditation. I think the film, you must see it as a meditation. I've seen the film so often. I think I've seen the film at least 60 times. Wow. And I can constantly watch it because it's meditation.
Yeah. Well, no, it's very, no, it's very, very moving. The meditation. There's so many, especially the second half. I'm actually curious about the second half, because you get a sense of this, as I said, the walkabout through this landscape, right? I'm curious what happens, like where does he get dropped off? And that landscape just before the waterfalls, right? You get these like boulders in the jungle, and then this sort of extreme long shot of the concrete factory, or even that moment of delivering a child in the middle of the monsoon rains, just all of these pet pieces which suddenly seem like you can't actually place, or at the end with the drone shot of the seas, right? The open seas. So I was thinking, like, where is this imagined landscape? I don't want to know where it is. I don't need to know literal geographical spaces. I don't, because I can guess that's not it. But I was just curious about what it meant to go from inland out into the sea. Like, what was that about?
Now, I think Akshay is very much rooted into Maharashtra. The language, the poetry, the history of poetry, because all his projects about poetry and literature in Maharashtra, which often most people we met don't even know. And because of this being rooted, he found these different locations which express different facets of the country. And they're all very traditional. He explained me, I mean, Akshay could explain it much, much better to you. But people were so excited that he showed actually construction site, this brick factory,
yes,
the one where they do this kind of liquid. So it's like a journey through a culture, which as a journalist and poet, for sure you want to describe, because our protagonist officially is a journalist, but he is a poet. So you want to discover all human natures in you. You want to speak with the garbage man, with the rickshawala, with the factory worker. So this is so beautiful about his work, I find.
It is. Okay, I'm going to ask you the question about tobacco. One of the big things that when he hangs out with his friends in the tile factory, right, with his friend, and they're exchanging pour, and then he gets tobacco, right? The guy gives him some tobacco, and then later when he doesn't pay for his ticket, he's with his ticket master who's about to fine him or throw him in jail, and he bargains saying, no, how about this? I'll give you a poem, and the cluster of folks who show. And then just before then he says, oh, will you have some, do you chew tobacco? Let me have some tobacco. So I'm curious about this tobacco. I know what it is, but it was such a lovely gesture of gift, right? Right, that you're being punished. You could be thrown into jail, but here it is. Please have some tobacco. So could you, because it was so touching. There was this kind of humanity in the middle of this dreadful situation. Could you say, I mean, it was very charming.
I mean, this tobacco detail, literally Akshay has to explain you.
Okay.
I know Akshay doesn't like smoking. And they are often very much against smoking.
But they're chewing tobacco, so we have to be, yes, they're chewing tobacco, they're not smoking it. Yes, so that's...
Don't do it. It's something rooted in the culture, which only him can do.
Okay.
And a lot of actually all the spectators we met, even in Tallinn, I mean, they got this sense, but these kind of details you discover.
Yeah,
and
right.
I find it superb that you even see the metaphor of this chewing of tobacco. I find it beautiful.
No, it's very lovely. Tell us a bit about the next project, and I have you because I know I went to Berlinale, his second film, third film, second feature film. So tell us about that. Tell us about your involvement with that one, because that must have taken a different journey. You must have come on it a little earlier, right?
This one, actually, we are not the producers on it.
Okay.
We helped him because, I mean, I'm based in Berlin, and then he had many questions concerning Berlinale.
Yeah.
But actually, because Akshay works a lot, so while we actually had all the work on the post-production and the re-editing and getting financing in place, he already shot the new one. So this was a little bit the thing, that philosophical guy in the jungle who's asking, but I mean, this is all, you have no problems. You didn't kill anybody, you didn't kidnap anybody. So what is your problem? What do you want? And this one of my favorite actors in Maharashtra also. Okay. And he comes from theater.
Okay. It was wonderful, that moment of the encounter. It's like as if a ghost suddenly arrived in the jungle, right? Yeah, there's that,
And then with the water, he disappears.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think this is, it's the dry ground, it's the symbol of the water, it's the jungle, it's the sky. And somehow it begins in water and it ends in water.
Yes, it does. It does. And that's in a full radius, TRIJYA. Yes. On that note, from the circle to our Zoom grid, I think we can close the session. Right?
Okay, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, likewise. I hope we can meet Katharina.